Hey, my name is Orson Charles, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to welcome you to this awesome organization called UGA HEROs.
So basically, I was just like you, and maybe you guys have it more figured out than I did. It's like this 10 seconds of insane courage that you have to do something different. And I was like, you know what? I just got to say it out loud. And so I told Mom and Dad that instead of graduating and taking 5 classes, I was going to take 4, intentionally not graduate, and take a year off of school. My family doesn't come from much money, and I just knew I didn't want to take the normal path and the normal job. And a summer turned into a year-long experience that almost 10 years later helped a lot of people get in this room because of one person, and one time, and one experience of 10 seconds of insane courage. And I literally was leaving this orphanage, and this little boy, one moment, one time, one little kid named Martin, looks me dead in the eye, grabs the bottom of my shirt, and he goes, Gigi, Gigi. Everyone says they'll be back. Will you really come back and see us? And as much as I had that feeling in my stomach when I had to tell Mom and Dad I was going to take a year off and go to Africa, was that exact same moment I had and that same feeling of that same little kid. I was like, yeah, I will. And I came back. And days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And before you knew it, I was there for almost an entire year. It's okay. I think sometimes the good Lord puts you in certain places for certain reasons. You don't always know why. And you don't even have to believe it. That's not what this is about. But I think sometimes you're put in certain places for certain reasons. And maybe it's like speaking to you right now. What if we could give a great quality of life to these children by no fault of their own? A coin was flipped. They were born into this world just like you and I. They were born with some really, really tough circumstances and situations. What if we could create an organization where these heroes in this room, and the people like Hayes and the people that have been on exec for many years, became family to these kids that had nothing and nobody? But when you believe in something and you know the impact you can make, and it takes one day at a time, one step at a time, and 10 seconds of insane courage at a time, to write the letters and raise the money and to see the kids and go be with them. And it's so amazing. From one random guy in a mosquito net sleeping in the middle of Africa to one day come back 10 years later and like see a room packed with this many people that care about kids that you may or may not meet just a few times a year, but you know that every dollar you raise goes to making their life awesome. Does anyone know like the actual definition of insanity? Like what that means? Or anybody want to take a shot and have a big crowd and a little embarrassed? Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result.
Would you mind saying that a little bit louder?
Doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result.
All right, I'm just going to say it real loud. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's because we weren't looking at all of our other friends or the other charities on campus. Or, you know, at the end of the day, Relay for Life is great. It started in Tacoma, Washington, 1973. We started at UGA, right? We're Georgia like bred and born. Like, this is our charity. Like, what can we do? And I was like, but it's amazing what happens when you ask. It's amazing what happens when you try. It's amazing what happens when you're brave and crazy enough to be insane. And all I ask is the guy that's just coming back 10 years later, who's super grateful and appreciative, is don't be afraid to ask. To go all in on this year to try to do something different in 10 seconds of insane courage that the people in this room decided to do, that made not just UGA Heroes amazing, but the lives of each one of our children in Atlanta, in Athens, and all across the state even more amazing as well. And for that, I thank you guys.
You know, the hero people are crazy. They'll harass you at Tate Plaza. I began to learn about things, and it changed my life. I learned there were 12,000 kids in this state that are affected by HIV and AIDS. Do they have it or an immediate family member dies? I learned that 90% of the kids that were in hero programs, they came from family incomes of $10,000 or less a year. Before they had food on their table or clothes on their back, they were in a really tough situation. And we did the event that Garrett was talking about called Film on the 50. We literally bust them all in. We put them on the football field between the hedges. We put Incredibles on the Jumbotron. And we thought they were going to love it. And the honest truth is they could have cared less. They cared about hanging out with college students and having somebody to call a friend. And the little girl I worked with that day, she was 6 years old, and I've told this story hundreds of times, but I remember it as clearly in my mind as if it was yesterday. And she was most excited about free Chick-fil-A sandwiches that were coming at the end of the meal, at the end of the movie. She's like, Chick-fil-A is my favorite, and I never get to eat it. And so based on our fundraising goal, I'm like a little bit competitive. So we rushed over after the movie. She was the first one in line, got her a sandwich, took back to the Big G, sat down, cut it in half for her, and she literally inhaled the first half. And then she wrapped the other half back up. I was like, as long as I live, I'll never forget her response. I said, don't you want to finish the rest of the sandwich? And she said, you know, I do, but I really want to save it for my grandmother at home who never gets to have Chick-fil-A either. You know, 50% of the kids in HERO programs have lost one parent to HIV and AIDS. This little girl lost both. Lived at home with her grandmother. And, you know, I may have joined for certain reasons, but there was a shift that day. And I, at some point, decided I was going to be all in. If this literally represents, like, this thing of water, like who we are and what we have to give. And I was an average committee member at best. You know what? I'm going to give just a little bit to HERO. Because there's date nights and there's socials and there's so. But here's the interesting thing that happened. When I met that girl, and when I had that experience where she talked about just a selfless kind of love, and I realized the kind of thing she was up against, my mind shifted, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to just do part of it. I'm literally, I want to be all in. Like, I want to give everything that I have for these. Something about in life when you go all in for something. When you just say, you know what, I'm just going to be all about it. I'm going to go all in. And it's like when you give all you have to give, and then somehow there's just more to give. And you then have the opportunity again. I felt like I don't really have any more time. Now I'm on exec, and then instead of a committee meeting a week, I have 2 meetings a week. And then I'm showing up at all the events, even the ones I don't want to show up to. I'm showing up to pursue a percentage night to buy food that I don't want to buy for HERO. Because I'm going all in. And here's the thing, as you keep going all in, there's more to give. And literally every time. And here's the thing, I don't know what your background is. If you're a Christian in your faith thing, people will call it sowing and reaping. Or some people call it karma. Or they can call it the law of reciprocity. But this is how it works. When you pour all into something, and you have a chance to go all in, it's like there's just another chance to give even more. We have an opportunity to give of ourselves, and when we give of ourselves into things that matter with our lives, we have an opportunity to do something that literally makes a difference and changes the world. You know what? Our kids and our cause are every bit as important as their kids and their cause. And I don't work for their kids, their cause, I'm not against them, but I'm going to work my tail off. Because there are kids whose very lives depend on what we do in rooms in Athens. There are kids that have now, for the first time in their family, gone to college and have a career because of HERO programs, because of dollars that you guys raise. And this is the coolest thing, because you literally have the opportunity. There's a lot of fun things you can do, but I'd hope you take a little bit of time to pour in. Whatever you think about investing, just invest a little bit more. Because here's the thing, when you invest in something like this, it's a whole lot of fun. Being a little bit older and having done a few more things, there's nothing more fun than knowing that you literally changed somebody's world because of what you've done. And these HERO kids, you're literally changing their world. I love your theme this year. New team, bigger dream. That's freaking insane, and it's bold, and I love it. New team, bigger dream. Here's what I'd encourage you to do. New team, bigger dream, and just literally say, we're going to go all in. We're literally going to go all in this year because the cause and the kids are worth it. And we will be in Atlanta cheering you on, and I can't wait to see what you guys accomplish. Thanks so much for letting us come.